people that have had trauma will use substances to cope as their main strategy. And until they learn other strategies and also process through their trauma, they'll probably resort back to using something unhealthy, such as substance dependence, as a coping strategy.
And that is another thing that makes SOBA so unique. It's the fact that they use such different and unique approaches when it comes to therapy. Greg Hanley is still here along with Alice Rahici and Daniel Baldwin with SOBA, but also trauma therapist Carter Stout is joining us. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. What is different about the therapy at SOBA as, opposed to some other places?
Well, I think one of the main differences, SOBA, we're really, when a person comes in and they're really broken from being through, sometimes years of addiction, we try and really meet them where they are. So we are not trying to initially engage them too deeply. We want to see where they are because usually they're very fragile. And then we want to find out a little bit about their history, what's been going on in their family. And over the past 5 or 6 years, treating hundreds of addicts, you come to realize that there usually is some kind of trauma in their background. And that is what we're trying to take a look at initially. And
is that hard to find? Is that sometimes, I'm just assuming that that's something that people don't really want maybe to talk about? Do they ever not even realize that there was trauma? Is it something you help them discover?
Well, it's, trauma, we don't look at trauma in a traditional way at SOBA. Trauma really, certainly can be physical abuse or sexual abuse, but trauma can be, having something said to you on the playground when you were 8 years old that you've internalized.
It can really stick with you.
Absolutely. Or your parents going through a divorce when you're an adolescent. And you carry these things around with you and they turn into a belief system. And you start to blame yourself for these things. And ultimately, if someone has the disease of addiction, these traumas and these beliefs are going to activate their addiction at some point in their life.
And to support that and how absolutely 100% true that is, it was up until I had started doing some work at this recovery center that I actually had someone pull up and show me where I said in the press, well, I was the black sheep of the family.
Oh, wow.
And so what was asked of me was, someone at one point said that to you, but you decided to take the ball and run with it and wear it. And that's how you identified yourself.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Did you
never
realize that?
I did. You know what? Until it was pointed out to me, I never really realized that I was wearing that coat because I thought it fit. I believed it fit. And the fact of the matter was, no, it didn't fit. I may have done some things, but that's not who I was. That's something I did. It's very different.
No, and that makes perfect sense. And so as far as the approach that you take and how the therapy is different, I would assume it's longer because people are at SOBA a lot longer, so it really helps you help them figure out, where it's coming from.
Absolutely. Sometimes people aren't ready to open up in the beginning, and we really want to nurture them. We really want to support them in every way possible. And, coming into an environment that you're not familiar with and meeting someone that you don't know and then asking them to open up about their biggest fears and their darkest secrets is really hard. So we're really trying and go at a pace that's comfortable for them, and really make sure that they are ready when they talk about some of these things, which are, because they come from a place of deep wounding, most of them, and they're carrying these things around. And so we want to keep them there. And, I was hearing Doug and you guys talk about keeping them there for a longer period of time. And, if someone stays in treatment for 60, 90 days, or even 6 months, we really are able to reach them on a whole new level, therapeutically.
And also, there's something else that happens. A guy like Doug or myself, I can speak for this, are not naturally in the beginning the types that would walk into a room and start talking about emotions and fear.
No.
We're just more reluctant to think the message of that was, that's weakness, that's this. So that has to be broken down at some level to feel safe. And that's what takes the time, exactly what Carter's talking about.
Is the safety, is feeling like you can open up.
And to know that it's okay and that it's not some symbol of weakness or masculinity or whatever it is. It has to do with getting down to it.
Yeah, getting down to business.
And
go ahead.
I'm just saying people's defenses are really up.
Sure.
Because they've been, living a life mainly of deception and, been hiding from the world for a long time in their drug addiction. So for someone to come in, they put their shield up.
Yeah.
I went to a 28-day treatment, and I never told my therapist anything.
You didn't even get that far.
No way. No, I just sat around and kind of told her whatever I thought she wanted to hear for 2 weeks, and I was gone.
And did that one work?
Well, you know, I stayed in long-term. A lot of my treatment modality came from the things that were missing and the things that I had learned. And I had a guy, I went to outpatient for a long time, and that's where I got to know my therapist and develop a crew of people that for sure saved my life multiple times when things went, went not so good. They would call.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. It's always a pleasure to have you. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.